Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist podcast with the Digit Podcast Network. How's it going, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm super excited to announce that Early Bird is now open for June 21 through 26th, our summer traincation. Train Hard, Play Hard in Miami, Florida. In partnership with Gravity Academy and Aerial Sailing Miami, I am putting together a 6-day, 20-hour in-studio training, and we have excursions with Aerial Sailing Miami to, do aerial off the side of a boat. All right, guys, please check the show notes if you want to sign up. February 25th is the deadline for Early Bird. If you go to my website, links in the show notes for my 2 courses, Aerial Rehab and my comprehensive beginner to intermediate course. And also on this feed on Thursdays is The Artist Entrepreneur, my weekly gap session with Noah Doc and Amanda Ritchie. All right, guys, so excited to listen to these interviews. Let's get started. Rebecca, I'm so happy to get on here with you.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this because it's a huge issue. So
it is a huge issue. As everyone knows, I am the age of 48, and about 6 months ago, I started to really notice my memory completely leaving me. And then I started, before that, I had this moment where I was shedding hair, and it didn't happen more than once. It was I shed and then I stopped shedding, but I was like, oh, this is happening. This decline is beginning, if not already in progress. And I know very little about it. Listeners, Rebecca is my friend now at Lifetime because we met each other at this place that I work, and she's a functional medicine doctor. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but if you could introduce yourself to the audience, and then we can deep dive into some of these questions that I have a lot of questions about. Perimenopause. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I started out my career as an RN back in 1980. I graduated from a diploma program in 1980. And was an RN for 6 years before I decided I was interested in nutrition. And I went down to Incarnate Word here in San Antonio and joined a master's program and finished a master's in nutrition in 1991 and continued working as a nurse, primarily in the intensive care unit, while I had a side gig as a nutritionist. In 2004, I decided I wanted to go to medical school, and so I moved out to Arizona and attended Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. It's now called Sonoran University of Health Sciences, but at the time it was Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. Came back here to San Antonio and set up my practice, my consulting practice. I joined Institute of Functional Medicine, went through their certification process just because it's a credential that a lot of people look for. Most people that come to me have either digestive issues, autoimmune. I see a lot of women with hormone issues, anxiety, weight gain. I see a wide variety of people.
How do you approach it? When somebody comes to you and they sit down in front of you, are you doing blood work with them? Are you looking at their levels? What is your approach if I were to come into your office?
Well, first of all, I do a free 15-minute consult with anybody that's interested in my services just to make sure that I'm the right fit.
Okay.
Because I don't do acute care stuff. If someone is got gallbladder and their surgeon is saying you need to have your gallbladder removed and they're in pain and they're at the emergency room, don't come to me. I'm not going to do acute care medicine. But if you have an ongoing chronic, whether it's fatigue, whether it's autoimmune, whether it's diabetes, whatever it is, I can handle that and I will handle that. Also, I like to interview someone briefly just to make sure that they are willing to do the work.
Because
And
they have to make changes in their
they
lives,
have to make
basically.
changes in their life. And what I do is not cheap. So I talk to them about the kind of testing that I do and how expensive it is, because I don't want someone coming to see me if they can't do the testing.
Sure. Okay.
Anyway, that's step one. Step two is they come to my office and I schedule a 2 hour intake, and we talk about everything from their lifestyle and their birth history and their environmental exposures and their diet and their stress and their relationships, and a head to toe assessment of body systems. And at the end of that time, I tell them, okay, this is the kind of testing I would like to do based on our interview.
Okay.
And some of it's blood work, some of it's stool,
Okay.
some of it's saliva,
Got it. Got it. Okay.
some of it is just a cheek swab.
Got it. Okay. I understand. Okay. So perimenopause, I was telling Rebecca, like the generation before me, my mom's generation, there was not a lot of conversation about it. And then not a lot of information passed down from that generation to my generation. At least my mom, she kind of suffered in silence, if she suffered at all. And it seems to me that the conversation about perimenopause is growing out there. Would you agree? There's a lot, like people are starting to really talk about it.
Absolutely. I think, social media is probably the primary factor that is getting people talking about it, because your mother, my son is your age. And so your mother and I are probably about the same age. And no, nobody talked about it. We heard about menopause, but no one associated what happens to you in the years leading up to menopause with any particular condition. They didn't know what was happening to them. And so they just went through probably 10 years of just feeling a little off. Maybe I know from my personal experience, the main thing I noticed was I would wake up damp at night. My sleep shirt would just be a little bit damp. I didn't sleep as deeply. I didn't know what was happening. That started when I was 42. And so, no, women of my generation and prior to that didn't really talk about perimenopause. We didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So let's, a lot of this I don't know, and I'm assuming my listeners do not know. Can you explain exactly what is happening in our bodies during the perimenopause phase?
Yes. Your ovaries are gradually producing fewer and fewer eggs. Your ovaries are gradually just not working like they once did. This starts about 15 years. The average woman, perimenopause starts about 15 years before official menopause. And the definition of official menopause is when you have gone for 12 consecutive months without a menstrual cycle. And so the average age of official menopause in this country is 51, 52 years old. So we're talking.
Really?
Yes. We're talking 31, 36 years old. The process begins.
Wow. I feel like that's earlier than I thought. Like I thought maybe not that I love my period, but I thought it would be hanging around till I was like 55 or something like that.
Well, again,
it could.
That's the average age. I have a number of clients. I have a lot of menopausal women that come to me, and some of them are 60 years old and they just quit having a cycle 2 years ago. So that's the average age. But the point is that this process begins, the very beginning of this process starts about 15 years prior to official menopause. What happens is your ovaries start producing less and less estrogen. It has to do with them having fewer and fewer eggs. And you start having what we call anovulatory cycles, where you're not ovulating. When you don't ovulate, then your progesterone production declines, because the primary source of progesterone after ovulation is the hole that's left behind in your ovary. They call that the corpus luteum. And that tissue produces a good amount of progesterone. So what happens as women have more and more anovulatory cycles, meaning they're ovulating less and less frequently throughout that 15-year period until their ovaries just finally give out and they have official menopause, they become more and more estrogen dominant. In other words, they're making a good amount of estrogen, and that slowly declines too over the 15-year period. But the ratio of estrogen to progesterone gets out of whack. And so you have what they call estrogen dominance during that period of time. Now, if you happen to ovulate that cycle, then you won't feel as off because you've got plenty of progesterone going on. But then maybe 2 or 3 cycles, you don't ovulate, and so you have all these symptoms. And as I probably don't need to tell you, but the primary symptoms that I hear women coming to me about has to do with just mood swings, brain fog, forgetfulness. They may have excessive water retention, breast tenderness. They're not sleeping well. They sleep very lightly. And they feel off. The biggest complaint I get from your demographic, and I would say women in their late 30s all the way up into their late 40s, they just come to me and they say, I just don't feel like myself. And I've gone to my doctor and they say, you're fine. They've done the blood work and I'm fine, but I don't know what's going on. And more often than not, they're going through perimenopause, which is impacted by your adrenal health as well as your thyroid health. So when a woman comes to me and they are within a certain age range, that's the first thing I think about. And so I want to look at not only their hormones, which includes estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and DHEA. Those are the things that I look at. I also want to see what their adrenals are doing, because your adrenals become a vital source of hormone production once your ovaries give up the ghost and you're officially in menopause. Your adrenals make a fair amount of testosterone, DHEA, and testosterone. And then testosterone is converted into estrogen in postmenopausal women.
Okay.
And so I want to look at their adrenals. And if you're going to look at adrenals, you need to look at thyroid too, because if your thyroid is off, then that's going to have an impact on your adrenals, and vice versa. If your adrenals are off, that's going to have an impact on your thyroid. So when I have a postmenopausal or a perimenopausal woman come in and she has a certain set of symptoms, those are the first 3 things I think about.
Do you get a lot of women that say they went to their primary and they said they're fine, or they made them feel like there's nothing wrong with them? It happens all the time. Is it that the doctors are not testing for hormones? Like, it seems a little bit foolish that anybody today, 2025, wouldn't say to themselves, well, she's of the age and she's in perimenopause. It's probably perimenopause. I mean, are doctors still gaslighting women today, right now? I mean, I don't want to say, is that too strong a word?
I would never accuse them of gaslighting. I think there's a history of women not being taken real seriously. You go in to see your primary care doctor and you say, I'm feeling off. Well, they're going to look at a CBC and a CMP. That's what they're going to look at, just to make sure that all of that blood work looks normal. More and more doctors are becoming more and more progressive and aware of these particular issues, and they might say, hey, let's take a look at your hormones. You're 38 years old or you're 42 years old. Let's take a look at your hormones. So, there are doctors out there that are paying attention to this, but I do have a lot of clients come to me that have just been told, hey, you're fine. There's nothing going on, and maybe offered an antidepressant. That still happens today. That still happens quite frequently today.
One of my personal experiences was I don't know, 6 years ago, I went in, I have a female doctor. I asked for the tests and she comes back and she says, confirmed, you are in perimenopause. And I was like, okay, cool. Then what now? She's like, you don't need anything right now. And I was like, really? Is that all we're going to talk about? And that's how that was left. I was like, we're not going to talk about my symptoms and how much worse they are compared to what you think they are. There was no conversation.
Yeah.
Which to me, I was like, well, at least she's like confirming what I think is going on. But then when it came to like any type of like, I don't even know if I thought I needed treatment that day, but in a year, whatever it is. So I feel like this is happening with a lot of women, and the conversation is very important because we can kind of help ourselves ask better questions.
Yes.
When we're in with the doctor. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, okay, so for you, what would you recommend for women to go in for testing at a particular age? What tests should they ask for? Kind of what we were already talking about. Like, how should they approach this with their doctor?
Well, if they are late 30s to late 40s and they're feeling off and they're having all these symptoms, it doesn't hurt to have your doctor just check your hormones. Check your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone. Most conventional doctors, let me put it this way, I am not aware of any conventional practices that are also looking at adrenal health in the way that I look at it.
Okay.
They may do a spot cortisol as they're drawing your blood for your estrogen and testosterone. That's just a one-time look at cortisol levels at a certain time of day. The testing that I do looks at cortisol production 4 times throughout the day. The reason for that is because the pattern of cortisol production is what tells you where your adrenals are on the continuum between strong, robust, healthy adrenals and adrenal insufficiency. And it's the adrenals that help.
Okay, so it's not a picture. It's the pattern. It's not a picture.
Right. It's not a one-time value that you get from drawing blood at 2:00 in the afternoon. I have my women collect their saliva, or it can be urine, 4 times throughout the day: morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and bedtime. Yeah. So to answer your question, your conventional doctor, just tell them, hey, let's check my hormones.
Okay.
Let's check my hormones. Now, again, going through perimenopause, there's going to be months when your hormones look normal and other months when they don't look normal. So it's hard to know exactly what's going on just by checking your hormones once. I do they call it a menstrual cycle profile, where we look at your hormones every other day for a full month. I collect, it's a urine sample every other day for a full month. That tells me what is the pattern of estrogen production, what's your pattern of progesterone production, and it also looks at luteinizing hormone, which is another hormone that they take into consideration when evaluating menopause and perimenopause.
Okay, so, and this is what I hear about a lot. Women are like, oh, you should find a hormone specialist. So what are your thoughts about that? I mean, are we talking about not on the naturopath side, not on the functional medicine side, but on the MD side? I don't know if are you technically an MD if you're in naturopathic medicine?
ND, as in
ND.
Is in naturopathic.
Doctor.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know a lot about that. Are there specialists that deal with that, or is it really just we need to find somebody like you?
Me coming from a conventional background, when you say hormone specialist, I think endocrinologist. That's what.
Oh, I see. I see. I
Yeah.
see.
No, you don't need to see an endocrinologist, but there are doctors out there that specialize. They've decided, hey, I want to get into this business, and so they do hormones. And you can go in and they'll test do all the testing for your hormones. I'm not sure that they'll look at your adrenals or your thyroid. I don't know because I haven't gone to one, but they will certainly take a look at your hormones, and then lots of times they'll insert a pellet, or they might recommend a hormone cream, or they might recommend an oral hormone with
Okay.
that's estrogen and progesterone. I think it's always wise to take a broader perspective and look at things other than just hormones. Because again, adrenal health is what is going to enable a woman to go through menopause without just crashing and burning. I have a number of clients that are menopausal and they were never on hormones. And they said, oh, it wasn't that bad. And I look at their adrenal health and their adrenals are nice and robust.
Oh, I see.
But if your adrenals are shot and you're going through perimenopause, ending up in menopause, you're going to have a hard time. And of course, the answer to that is to get on bioidentical hormones. But to answer your question, I think it's in your best interest to find a doctor that's going to take a more holistic approach. Look at not only your hormones, but inquire about your thyroid health and adrenal health and even your gut health, because your gut health plays a huge role in your overall health and in your hormones as well. It's complicated.
How do you help women treat their symptoms? What is your approach to that?
Most perimenopausal women do very well when I get them on a little bit of progesterone.
Okay.
And here in Texas, because Texas does not license naturopathic doctors, I cannot write prescriptions, but high quality, real bioidentical progesterone is available to me to recommend for my clients I use an oil form. And the reason I use
like a topical on the skin.
topical, yeah. And the company that I like to use creates an emulsion of progesterone in an oil, and therefore it's easy to titrate the dose that I'm recommending because everybody's different. Some women are very sensitive to progesterone, and just a little dab will take care of the problem. Some women need more. And if you have too much progesterone, then it can make you groggy throughout the day. So being able to titrate the dose is important. I start them off on progesterone, and the first thing they notice is they can finally sleep. As they progress down the years, then we have the conversation about bioidentical estrogen. There's several factors that go into whether or not you want to put a woman on estrogen. You want to ask about their family history of hormone-sensitive cancers. I take it a step further and I look at their genetics. And then even if I've looked at their genetics, I take it a step further and look at how they are currently metabolizing their estrogen down a healthy pathway or down an unhealthy pathway. I want to know what's going on inside their body before I recommend estrogen. And of course, you can manipulate those pathways with dietary measures and with supplements, but once they are fully approaching menopause, then if they're a candidate for it, I think it's very beneficial to get on some bioidentical estrogen.
And that bioidentical estrogen, is that also an oil that you put on your skin?
Company that I use, yes. Yes, it's an oil.
Okay, so you are receiving hormone, you're just not taking a pill.
Estrogen is one of those hormones that you really don't want to take by pill.
Okay, why is that?
Unless it is in an oil emulsion formulation.
Okay.
Because everything you put in your stomach, every supplement you take, everything you take goes through your liver first. Unless it's in an oil emulsion, then it's absorbed directly into your bloodstream. But most oral estrogens that I'm familiar with are not in an oil emulsion, and therefore they go through your liver first, and E2 is processed into E1 before it goes out throughout your body. Well, you're not getting E2, which is estradiol.
Oh,
Point being,
okay.
without giving you a biochemistry lesson here, the point is...
It changes it in your body.
It changes it, yes. And you don't get the benefit of what you think you're taking.
Oh my God. My mind is blown, Rebecca. Okay. Well, listeners, I'm the lucky one because if I decide that I am able to, I can probably come and see Rebecca because she lives in my city. You guys are out of luck if you don't live here. Rebecca, you're licensed in Texas to treat people here in Texas, right?
Texas does not license naturopaths.
Oh, so you can actually treat anyone?
In Texas, you cannot use the word treat.
Oh, okay. What's the word that you use?
Well, I assess and I recommend.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Diagnosing and treating is the verbiage that goes along with practicing medicine. People come into me and I assess what's going on and I give them a sheet with my recommendations.
Got it.
Then it's up to them to decide, okay,
if they're going to follow the recommendation.
Yeah.
So you can give assessments and recommendations to anybody.
Right.
Oh, and do you do virtual?
Yes. I have dozens of clients that I've never been in the same room with. Yeah.
Oh, see, listeners, you're in luck. I mean, this is the question we get a lot when we bring on practitioners and experts is that they cannot actually go hire that person. They're like, oh, but I really want to talk to this person, but they're not in my state, this and that. So here we go. This is great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm basically a consultant.
Yes.
And anybody can go online and order testing on their own. Lay people can go online and order testing. You don't have to have a doctor to purchase testing.
Right, but you do need guidance because I don't know what tests I'm ordering.
And you don't have to have a doctor to go and order these products that I use with my clients. You can find them online and use them yourself. I'm offering guidance.
Got it.
I am trained. I mean, I practiced medicine in Arizona for a year and a half after I got out of medical school. But I wanted to come back home to my state of Texas, and I don't need to be able to write prescriptions to help people. I need to be able to guide them and direct them.
Yes, and I don't know about other people, but if somebody offers me a more natural way to treat something that is just as effective as a pharmaceutical, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know a lot of people who, if you could convince them that it's the same or better outcome, they wouldn't go for that. It's more gentle on the body. It's better.
Yeah. Doing things naturally is always better.
Yes. Okay. So I don't even think I asked you this question on our list. Do you know anything about Chinese medicine?
I am trained in, one of the things that we learned in my medical school education was acupuncture. So yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you kind of have study in that. I mean, it must be a whole world of knowledge that is just, I can't even imagine because it's been around for so long.
Oh yeah. Traditional Chinese medicine is very powerful. Absolutely. Yes.
Now, let me go to painful sex is can be a symptom of perimenopause.
As your estrogen levels drop, the lining of your vagina goes from being just normal thickness to very thin and fragile, and it doesn't lubricate as well as it did 20 years ago.
Okay.
Becomes more and more fragile. Um, there are vaginal suppositories that have just a very, very small amount of bioidentical hormones that a lot of my clients use. And again, this same company that does the topical oil, they make these vaginal suppositories. And oftentimes that's enough. I have a couple of clients that have a history of breast cancer. And so I'm not going to recommend to them to put topical estrogen on their skin, but their oncologist, and I always have to have a letter from their oncologist saying, yes, vaginal is okay. They can use a vaginal suppository that has just a very, very small amount of the hormone in it, and that restores the health of the vaginal tissues so that sex is not so painful.
And so, why is it more okay for the suppository and not so much to put the oil on your skin?
Well, because the number one, the suppository is such a small, small dose. And theoretically, I've been told this by an oncologist, that it doesn't get into systemic circulation. It's topical, it's local, and it
Okay, it
just
stays in the area
stays in the
basically.
area. Yeah.
Is this something that you would use only when you need it? Or is it like you're using this on a daily basis for it to build
You probably need to do it on a regular basis. Yeah.
on a regular basis?
It may
Okay.
not be a daily thing.
Okay.
You might be able to get away with using the suppository a couple of times a week. You know, it's an individual thing. Every woman has a different need.
Okay. And I'm curious. I'm just like the nuts and bolts of this. Is it just like, is it kind of like a tampon?
Yeah,
And it just, yeah. And then you
yeah,
like, yeah. Okay. Got it.
yeah. It's just a
Little,
little pellet kind of, not a pellet. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen a suppository.
yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
Tylenol I used to give to my baby when she
yeah,
wouldn't take it in her
yeah.
mouth.
Similar
Same
to
type of thing.
that. Yeah,
Oh, just getting into the
easy peasy.
easy peasy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay. So this is my big fear. It's not a big fear, but it's a little bit of a fear. Is menopause harder than perimenopause? What do I have to look at? What am I expecting down this tunnel?
Well, like I said a while ago, if you have strong, healthy, robust adrenals and a healthy thyroid to go with it, and the two are working hand in hand, then your robust, strong adrenals are going to be able to make enough DHEA, which is then converted into testosterone, which is then converted into estrogen. And your ride is probably going to be a whole lot smoother than your neighbor who is tired. She's had a rough life, and for whatever reason in her life, her adrenals are just shot and there's no reserve there. She's not going to have anything with which to make that DHEA, which is then converted into testosterone and then into estrogen. So making sure you have strong, robust adrenals is important. How do you do that? Well, number one, you get plenty of sleep, stress management, eat well, exercise, and if you have some chronic fatigue going on, come see somebody like me and let's look at your adrenal health and do what we need to do to restore it.
Okay. So this is a podcast, so it's kind of like we have to speak in general terms because you're not either we're talking about okay, example Carrie, but if it's all the women out there, are there some good general things that we can add to our diet or I guess take away from our diet that are going to benefit almost everybody? I mean, I've heard things about taking an omega-3. I've heard things about making sure that you're absorbing enough calcium. Like, are there any like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that like almost any woman could do to help boost our chances of having a better ride at this?
Sure. I think it's important to make sure you're getting enough omega-3s, whether that's
Okay.
in your diet or whether that's in taking a quality supplement.
Okay.
Omega-3s are hugely important. Making sure you have an optimal level of vitamin D. And the the reference range that a lot of doctors use is like 30 to 100. And some doctors will say, 32, fine, you're within normal range of vitamin D. No, I like to see my clients' vitamin D levels up in the 60 plus on a
Okay.
nice, robust vitamin D. Get rid of refined foods. If your grandmother or great grandmother wouldn't recognize it on the shelf, don't eat it.
Okay. Processed foods.
Processed foods. Yeah. I mean, shop from the periphery of the grocery store, eat whole
Okay.
foods, eat real food, cook at home as much as you can. That sets the table for general health. And we're
Yes.
talking about your general health that is going to support you throughout this phase. It's going to take care of your microbiome. So, just supporting your general health is the way to ensure that you have an easier ride through this phase in your life. And worst case scenario, I mean, just take some bioidentical hormones. I've been on bioidentical hormones since I was your age,
Okay.
and nobody's going to take them away from me.
You use the oil on your skin.
I use a cream because I know what dose I need. I use a cream that I can prescribe and order out of Arizona
Okay.
for myself. So, but the oil is wonderful.
Okay. And when you're talking about vitamin D, can I just take a vitamin D supplement out of a bottle? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, you got to be careful where you're getting your products. Don't buy your supplements on Amazon. Let me say that again. Don't buy your supplements on Amazon.
Okay. Is it because the body is not, is the absorption not there? Is that I'm taking it and I'm just peeing or pooing it out?
If you don't buy from a distributor that you trust,
Uh huh.
then you don't know if the supplement has been handled properly. You don't know but what it might be counterfeit. Time magazine a few years ago did a wonderful article on counterfeit supplements. There are,
What?
yes, there are companies out there. I don't know if they're in South America or if they're in Africa. I don't know where they are, but they are actually taking the high-end brands that doctors like myself use and creating counterfeit lookalikes and selling them on places like Amazon or other places. I have in my office about 8 bottles that my clients have brought into me, and they have confessed. They have said, Dr. Ford, I bought this from the distributor that you use, and I saw it on Amazon for 10% less, and I bought it there. And look, the capsules are different. What's going on?
Mm.
And you know, I don't know that those were actually counterfeit. Maybe the capsule, maybe it hadn't been handled properly. Maybe it had gotten hot and then cold, or maybe it was expired. I don't know. But you need to be sure that you're buying either directly from the manufacturer, and there are some high-end brands that will allow the general public to buy directly from them,
Okay.
or from a trusted distributor.
Oh my God, I never heard that, but it makes sense. I mean, I buy a calcium pill. How much do I know about that calcium pill
Yeah.
that I'm popping?
Well, and so many nutrients, it's important that you're getting the right form and that you've got the right cofactors. Like vitamin D, you really need to have some vitamin K along with your vitamin D to make sure that the calcium is directed into your bones rather than your soft tissues.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
And that's
Lord
why,
have mercy.
that's why I have see this cup? You can see that. This cup, it says, please do not confuse your Google search with my medical degree.
I love that.
What I need now is please do not confuse your ChatGPT search with my medical degree, because people, nowadays you can go and you can ask ChatGPT anything, and it's downright scary what I see, because I've done it myself just to check it out and see what comes up. I'll go in and I'll say, what can I take for whatever it is? And I'll get a whole answer and say, oh, this and this and this and this. And it'll say, would you like me to develop a daily protocol for you? And I'll say, yes. And I'll look at the kind of protocol it'll come up with, and it's downright scary. The biggest drive to someone like me is either they've been to multiple doctors, given lots of pills, and nothing has helped, and so they're coming to see me, or they're just confused by everything that they see out there on Google or ChatGPT, and they just want somebody to tell them what to do.
Yes. Rebecca, what you just said, minus my new experience at Lifetime, because we do have to talk to people and show them what Pilates is. A lot of people have never done it. But my preference in both of my fields, aerial and Pilates, is that people have experienced other trainers before, and because they can't really recognize what I'm giving them sometimes. They don't really know what they're looking for. And so I'm giving them a service and they don't know how to rate it.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're getting. And so it's kind of nice sometimes when people have gone all over and, almost like a person who's dated everybody and they know what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate those type of clients because they know what they're getting.
Right.
Because I have so much confidence in the service that I give, and I
Right.
know they'll feel that way after they work with me. I'm sure you feel the same, because
Yes, I do.
you don't want to have to convince somebody that you're worth the money that you're charging,
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, yeah, I totally feel you. I feel the same way
Yeah.
about what I do. Rebecca comes in and she takes Pilates, you guys. And I teach her mom, Sammy. Her mom is 94 and is an absolute goal. She is my goals for when I'm older, and you are too. But
Well,
94.
Thank you.
If I'm that mobile at those ages, I will be so happy. So, okay. So Rebecca, you've given us a lot of stuff that we can educate ourselves with. What is your advice to the women out there who are like me?
Find a practitioner that you have a lot of confidence in. If you're having symptoms, like we mentioned earlier, go ask your primary care doctor if they will take a look at your hormones. Again, during the perimenopausal phase, 1 month your hormones will look this way, and the next month it'll look a different way. So it's hard to pinpoint during perimenopause. I would recommend that you find a naturopath or a functional medicine practitioner. For one thing, I do video consults. I have a number of clients that I've never been in the same room with, so I can help just about anyone because I'm not writing prescriptions. I am making recommendations. But if you want to find someone locally, there's several organizations I can recommend. The naturopathic organization to find a medically trained naturopath that actually went to 4 years of medical school. That organization is naturopathic.org.
So what you're saying is that unlike other experts that we bring on this podcast, you can work with them if they're listening to you right now.
Yes.
I love that. Listeners,
Yes.
you do not have to look any further. You can just click the show notes and you will have all the answers, all the answers to your questions with that. You don't have to go searching. Okay. So yes, go ahead, Rebecca.
Well, I was going to, again, if you want someone local, another website you can go to is ifm.org. That's the Institute of Functional Medicine. And then if you're here in Texas and you want someone local other than San Antonio, the Texas Association of Naturopathic Doctors is that is txand.org.
Okay.
So there's 3 good websites where you're going to find people that are legitimately trained and can be very helpful.
Okay.
Anyway, someone like you, try to find a practitioner that's going to listen, for one thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listening is huge. One of the services that I provide, I created for women like yourself that maybe this is the only thing going on with them, and they just want to get some help, and otherwise they're healthy. I have on my website functional wellness programs. There's 3 of them. One has to do with gut health, another has to do with hormonal health, and another has to do with adrenal and thyroid health. They are a complete package. They tell you where you can go online to order your own testing, because anybody can do that these days. And I actually have videotaped my going down those test results one by one, exactly what all of the different values mean and what I would recommend if you have this value or that value. So for all 3 of the programs that I'm offering, it's very affordable. It gives you a complete dietary guidelines to help with the detoxification process. You ought to take a look at it.
I'm going to take a look at that. That seems like it's something I should do. And then my listeners, I'm going to put all of this website links in the show notes so that you guys can click and then maybe go to these resources.
Yeah. I did that because a lot of women can't come in and afford to pay for a full one-on-one session with me. And I want to be able to reach people and help more people.
Right. And that kind of sounds like me. Like I'm healthy besides that I feel like there's this thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Like my brain fog is really bad. I'm sleeping okay. I don't have night sweats yet. But the brain fog, like I walk into a room, who the hell knows why I'm there? I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. One last question that I did not mention, but it's popping into my brain. If a woman is still on their cycle and their cycle is even and they're having their periods normally, but they are in decline, like somebody in their mid 40s. For example, my sister never went off the pill for birth control, and her doctor is like, well, if you feel good, just sail on through with that. Is that something that you would recommend for women who are still in their cycle, but they're kind of like, in that decline, just being on a birth control pill?
Well, keeping in mind that here in Texas, I do not write prescriptions. So I am not as familiar with all the different kinds of birth control pills as an OB-GYN would be. So keep that in mind. You might want to just ask your OB-GYN exactly how your form of birth control works and whether that would be a good idea for you. I do know that some birth control just kind of, in a normal menstrual cycle has peaks and valleys of hormones. The birth control pills, some birth control pills just kind of flatten that out. Your estrogen levels are just kind of flat, your progesterone levels are flat, and your testosterone levels are kind of flat. Some women respond to that negatively and they lose their libido, they lose their drive, their energy, because they feel they don't have the usual surge of hormones. If you're feeling good on the birth control pill and it's working for you, then I don't see any problem with continuing well into your 50s when you would more than likely be menopausal anyway, and then getting off the pill. Now, the way I work, if a woman is coming to me and wants me to help her manage her menopause, then like we discussed before, I would test her to make sure she's a candidate for bioidentical hormones. And then I can recommend bioidentical hormones in dosages that would mimic a more natural cycle to help women alleviate the symptoms of menopause. I have a number of clients that have had a hysterectomy in their 40s, in their 30s and 40s. See, one of the symptoms of perimenopause, one thing that can start happening is you can develop fibroids, your periods can get heavier. It's very common for your periods to get very heavy. And in years gone by, one of the first things they would do with women that was suddenly having heavy periods, they would just say, well, let's do a hysterectomy. You're done having kids. Let's do a hysterectomy. Well, okay, if you've had a hysterectomy, but they left your ovaries in, then you're not going to know when you're officially menopausal, except for the symptoms, hot flashes and that kind of thing.
Right.
What I would recommend, instead of having a hysterectomy, is try progesterone to see if just the right amount of progesterone won't fix that heavy bleeding. And I've had a number of women that have been having heavy bleeding. We've got them on the progesterone that has settled down and they're doing better. They're not having to have their hysterectomy. So,
wow, and that is so less invasive.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listeners, I'm so lucky because I get to see Rebecca every week. Every single week. I'm so grateful to have met you.
Well, I'm grateful to have met you too. And I'm grateful for what you're doing with my mom. She comes home and she says, boy, Carrie really worked me today.
She told me that her shelves are a little high and she has to put a casserole dish above. So I've created an exercise for her to train for that.
Well, good.
We use the medicine balls and we put them on high shelves.
Yeah.
And she gets to, I'm going to train all of her functional movement. Rebecca's in there doing the Pilates classes with my colleagues. It's a happy family over in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Lifetime gym.
Absolutely.
Rebecca, I appreciate you so much. I would love to, if you have an open invitation to come on anytime, if you have a specific thought you want to talk about and you think that the population of women would do well to hear about it, I would love to have you back on at some point. What I'll probably do is put this on both podcast shows because it's relevant for both audiences. Because we got all the womanhood happening on one, and then greener grass is for everybody, for their knowledge, to educate ourselves.
Yeah. Well, there's lots of health topics out there. And like I said, I see a lot of people with autoimmune disorders, lots of digestive health issues. anxiety, and chronic fatigue. So if anyone wants to have a conversation about those things, then I'd be happy to talk.
Yeah, I'm going to absolutely take you up on that, and you'll probably be our what is it called when you're like our neighborhood naturopath?
Well,
I love it.
These functional wellness programs that I created are very affordable. I did it so that people that don't have the time or the money to go and do a full program with a functional medicine doctor or myself can go in and just do a targeted intervention. If you're having gut issues, go do that targeted intervention and you'll probably feel a whole lot better. And if you still have stuff going on, then find a doctor or come see me.
Oh, Rebecca, I'm doing that 100%. I'm going to go on the website and do that.
Cool.
The one for adrenal.
Cool.
Yep. Oh my goodness. Rebecca, I appreciate you, and I'll see you next week.
All right. I'll be there Friday. I might see you then.
Thank you so much for tuning in, my friends. If you would leave me a 5-star rating and a review, it means the world to me. It really helps people find this. If you are an expecting aerialist around the world, or if you feel like you have a story to contribute to this podcast, please reach out to me. DM, email, Carrie at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com. I have an interview every single week, so there's lots of room for lots of stories. I really would love to hear from more of you. And the Mamas page, the Facebook page, I'm actually the admin for that. So I love that you guys are asking questions on there and really participating in the community. All right, my friends, check my website for my courses and also to sign up for this year's summer retreat in Miami, June 21st through the 26th. All right, my friends, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later. This is The Expecting Aerialist.
Open up.